Okay, good to go. So another Thursday, gentlemen.
What's going on?
Yeah, we're ready to go. We got a good topic today too. So once again, for everybody out there, I'm Marcus Harris, and I've got my brothers here, Tavante and JD, and our topic is three things you should know when you're starting your business. And like we said before, we're all business owners. Tavante heading is the chief funding officer for REI Financial. Also, he has a non-medical transport company. I own Zip Appliance Repair, home-based service. JD has a plethora of things going on as being the champ of real estate. I love that shirt too, by the way, man.
Man, thank you, man.
Like that too.
I'm getting one made in your size. It's coming, bro. I got you. Vontae, I'm sending one to Gary. I can't do nothing out there, but I'll still send you one, man.
I appreciate you.
But yeah, man. So let's jump on into this, man. You know, there's so many things to think about when you start a business, and just to get to the point, filling out the paperwork to get your LLC started, understanding or building a budget out, getting funding to be able to do what you need to do, and then bam, everything's done. Now it's you to operate the business on your own. But there's always a couple things that may get overlooked. It may be all three, it may be one. But you brought up one, Tavante, that stands out, man. Compliance.
Compliance, yeah, it's huge. It's huge. After you've done your LLC, you got your federal stuff done. I mean, I think most business owners say, well, I need to get this thing. That's kind of like the first thing we think about. But we don't think about, well, what kind of business am I running? If I have employees, there's compliances with that, right? If I'm actually got to do any kind of withholding of any kind of taxes, what's kind of with compliances, and there you got the Department of Revenue. You got to figure out what compliance you need to be compliant with, what department you need to be compliant with. So
Right.
it can be a little bit overwhelming initially, trying to figure out these systems. Because all you think about right now is making money.
Yeah.
You know, but the idea of making money is great, but you don't have to make money and then look at and get this huge state tax bill because they pretty much estimated your taxes because you haven't done the work beforehand. And they will just estimate what you owe them. So you want to make sure you get that state compliance done.
Estimated in their favor.
Right. And they're not going to underestimate. They're going to overestimate.
Yeah.
Every time, especially California, that EDD.
Oh, kill it.
Man.
But that's a good point too, right? And not only that, you got to understand what your state and your local laws are, right? So in the appliance repair business, in certain states, you don't have to have any type of license to do the business. In California and a couple other states, you got to jump through some loopholes. You got to have sign up with, get your bear license going. It's one of the big things to kind of separate things. And honestly, out of California, they get theirs before you get going.
Oh yeah.
Off top.
You got your enormous LLC startup, which is different, but you got also your local business licenses. And I think, like you said, man, the biggest thing is with your Department of Revenue. If you're doing big business and you're making big, you got to do it. You got to do it. Don't wait too long.
Being that I'm definitely listening a lot to you guys on this one because I'm still independent with what I'm doing with real estate and whatnot. I haven't had to hire any. I'm just grinding it out with myself for the most part. But going back, like what you were saying, Marcus, like why is that so important? What hurdles would one run into if they don't take care of that initially, if they don't build their foundation right?
And you can end up spending the money that you owe. So that's a huge one, right? So with the state of California, I have to cut them, checks because we sell parts as part of our service. So we'll do the service and we'll sell the parts as well, and we charge tax based on, the parts. So we collect the funds and we got to send them that money.
Yeah,
They want their money.
Gotcha.
And if you don't do it, they'll tell you, well, based on businesses like yours in the area, this is what you owe us, and it's due now. Send it.
Exactly.
You don't.
Yeah, I think in my business, it's a huge thing of not being able to do business at all. So one of the compliances I have to do is make sure that I have a motor carrier certificate that allows me to do driving and bill the providers in the area, so Medicaid, to building that service. So if I don't have those things in place, then I literally can't drive. I literally can't make any money.
Wow. So
it's like it's gonna be a halt to business. You don't have those things in place. So I'm already looking at making a list of all those compliance deadlines that need to be done. I got my admin on top of it, making sure that those done are done in a timely manner, so I don't fall in a situation where I'm behind on those compliances. And it usually it's not that difficult to do it. It's kind of easy. It's like doing an entry report. Like if you have a LLC, you have to file with the Secretary of State, and you have to do an entity report, which it's just a piece of paper that says you're knowledgeable that you're still in business. If you don't do that, then you lose your business. It's like literally takes 5 minutes to do.
Wow.
But it can cost you your business.
With that simple myth.
Yeah.
It can cost you your whole foundation.
The whole business.
That's the man, that's killer. I was gonna ask. Oh, go ahead, Marcus.
No, I was gonna stay with this, man. Before I shift gears here.
No, you good. Now, here's a question for both of you guys, because I know this is gonna come up with people that are watching this too. Where should you go to figure out to make sure you're compliant for your business? Who are you talking to? Where are you researching this information?
Man, I really suggest whenever you're starting a business that you have a mentor, know someone to help you get started who has done that business. And I mean, not like your uncle or who may have been involved in the business before, but a legit business person.
Why are you hating on Uncle Jimmy? Why are you hating on Uncle Jimmy? Been doing this 13. The city ain't came and got him yet.
He could have been in jail 3 times already. I don't know. But there's plenty of places to find the resources, right? You got BNIs, you got your Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
We do social meetings with the Black Chamber of Commerce here, and it's plenty of places where you can meet and connect with people so you can get that knowledge and ask. Don't be afraid to ask. And then on top of that too, we got Google. So
right.
Exactly. I agree.
They said, man, yeah. No, I thought that mentor one is big because they say success leaves clues. And the best way to find those clues is just have a successful mentor, because they're gonna guide you from where the landmines are. Keep you from stepping on anything that's gonna blow up in your face.
Yeah, I agree. I would add too, so payroll was not of our topic, but we're looking for a place to get payroll done or how to do payroll. And I knew I didn't want to do that myself. I knew I didn't want to have to be caught up in a timeline to do payroll. I ended up leaving to a website or a platform called Gusto. Gusto, I didn't know, they do HR and all that kind of stuff. And so I used their service and it was pretty affordable. Like I was surprised. I can pretty much go to them and get my HR done, like my contractor documents or for contractors, any agreements, operating agreements, stuff like that, I you can pay an attorney to do that kind of stuff. And I'm pretty sure if you have an established business, you want to do that with a really established business. But if you're a new startup, you may not have the capital you may not want to put the capital initially to that kind of stuff right now. Yeah. And so I went to Gusto and found out that they have a pretty good package where I have a HR person that I can call directly. They only charge me like $150 a month, and they do all my payroll.
Damn.
And so I'm just like, yeah, please sign me up for that.
Yeah.
I guess
cheaper than an employee that doing it, man.
So they do
go ahead.
They do your payroll, and HR compliance and contracts.
Marcus about to look it up. Marcus about to look it up. Is it
I got 3 different companies to do all of that.
Yeah, and I like that. So they even have, I'm kind of giving them like a free shout out right now. I need some money for this.
For real. Yeah. They need to send you, they better send you a referral or a free month or something.
But like what I like about them, so like I set up my admin, she's my first employee. I put in information to hire her basically through the platform. She has her own platform she signs into, uploads all her. I never see her social security card, I never see her ID, I never see any of that kind of stuff. And that's gets, and then when it comes to paychecks, it's as simple as it's like a one click. I just, click a button here, click a button, I'm done. Everyone's getting paid. They have options for automatic deposit, 2, 4, or 1 day automatic deposit. And they also have like, so I'm knowing this because now my admin's looking for an apartment. So I need to make sure I have the proper documents for your employees. Your business owners, you got to take care of your employees. You got to make sure that they're valued. And she wants to get an apartment. She wants to buy a car. I want her to apply the proper documentation and say, hey, I have a job. I'm earning a good wage, and I can afford this car or this apartment. So they have a platform she just signs into, and she just checks a box, and then her employer, I'm not her employer, but her apartment complex just goes to the website and employee verification is done. Mm-hmm. So they're making the process really streamlined, and it's very affordable for me.
And that's gusto.com, Gusto?
Yeah, gusto.com. Okay. I ended up on YouTube looking, and I saw a young lady talking about her payroll, and she uses them, and I was like, oh, this is dope. Easy peasy. Damn.
Oh man, well, no, that's a gem here, man. I just want to make sure everybody can see us. I got a message here that they may not see us. So, but we'll keep it going. But yeah, that's definitely.
It looks like it is on Facebook.
You can see it on Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay, it's all good. Well, man, I tell you, that's a gem, and I never thought about that. And I had a couple of requests come through, and even with the 3 services I used, I got to fill in a documentation. Yep. To let them know that they have a job. So man, yeah, that goes right into like our next point. Our second thing is when to outsource.
Yeah.
When to outsource. Like right now, $125. I'm with that.
Take that.
It's worth it, right? So if you look at how much time you spend that you would spend on tasks like that, is worth $125 to you.
It was actually $150, but it's still worth $150 too, by the way.
$250. It's worth it too.
Yeah. Worth that extra 25.
And you think about the time lost. It may not take you a whole lot of time to do it, but you got to schedule. You got to sit down and do it. It may throw you off your task. Yeah. You may miss out on the sale or something. So,
that's a big one. You want to stay doing money-making activities, your MMAs. If that's where you're most valuable at when you're running your business. If you can handle your money-making activities, especially early on, that's where you want to have your focus. I picked up that gem from a lot of mentors, a lot of things I've read, but even in our conversations together, Marcus, we've talked about that. Like, stay away from the things that they're just spinning wheels. Try to stay away from those items because it's literally like being in a hamster wheel. If you're just responding to emails, handling that payroll stuff, those tedious tasks, those are helping your business, but they aren't money-making activities. They aren't keeping the business afloat. So you want to get away from those.
Yeah,
that's $150 a month is definitely worth it.
$250, $350. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't pay an employee for that.
No. Mm-mm. What threw me for kickers when she was like, well, because I added my accountant as my admin too, and I was like, well, she's like, well, how do you want everything to run? I said, well, I like my accountant to handle, just wrap everything up in a bowl. I'm probably have my admin do a little bookkeeping for me, just basic bookkeeping, just check, this is a big expense, this is not a big expense, keep everything kind of clean, and then I'll have you guys to help me with the state compliances. With the entity reports, all things are filed in that I don't want to do, like they just get done automatically through them, right? So she's like, well, through our concierge program, which is this 150, right? She's like, well, when we said and done, we just send your taxes over. That's all included, state and federal taxes. I was like, what? She's like, yeah. She's like, we do that for you. I'm like, dang, I think my accountant just lost a job.
Oh, there, your accountant like, yeah, we ain't gonna ignore that part. You need me. You need me still. Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah. So it's like, duh, why not?
Right. No, it makes total sense.
Speaking of accounting, that's one thing people miss. The accounting, the bookkeeping. Accounting and bookkeeping, two different things. Budgeting, bookkeeping, accounting, three different things. Man.
3 different things.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a hell of a budgeter, but when it comes to bookkeeping, I am struggling because all those little line items, and with the software you have now, it may categorize some of the stuff, but I use QuickBooks. So even though the credit card may categorize it, it doesn't transfer over. And man,
yeah,
you know, you get those transactions, you will have work on your hands trying to catch up.
Yeah, I think that's the level of discipline people forget when they're opening the business that they're going to need to have. Because it's if you have a system in place, it can actually be easy. Like I've seen when I worked corporate, I saw it done. There were certain things we had to keep books on, and it was easy doing it because the systems were in place. There was a time for it. There was a computer generated system that you would input it into. It was scheduled out ahead of time, throughout the entire year. So all of this stuff was set up. But I think a lot of times when we get ready to start our own business, like you said earlier, Tabante, we just about, how do I get this money coming in? How do I get the dollars coming in? But the crazy part is, I don't think we underprepare for our success.
Yeah.
Because if you start being successful and the money starts coming in, and you ain't keeping oh man,
it's a headache.
Exactly. Now that thing that was gonna take 30 minutes to do in a sit down, now you're behind months trying to play catch up before the IRS catch up to you.
Yeah.
And that's what makes that's like I said, I think that's something that we don't prepare for or even keep in mind while building the foundation. And that's something I think the earlier you have it set up and you become disciplined with it, it's a lot easier to carry over later once the success does come in.
I think that's key what you said, JD. That's huge because again, we're used to being employees and we see the process from the inside. We think, oh, that's simple, I can do that. Exactly. But we don't see all the moving parts and we don't see all the timelines and schedules and the discipline and the procedures that go. That's the system as a whole. We see the system from like, okay, I don't know what they do, but it takes the discipline, like you said. You got to have that stuff set in place. It's got to be procedures. It can't be something that we just talk about. You got to actually back it up with schedules and procedures to make sure it happens.
Exactly. I think like you said, like approaching opening your own business, you have to change your mindset from that. You got to let go of that employee mindset because it's very easy. It's easy to do it when it's your job, when it's the thing you have to, like, I just got to do this in this scheduled amount of time. Okay, easy. This is my job. But you also may not view the importance of it when you're bringing in your own money and you're building your own business until you getting slapped in the face with it. And that's the thing you want to avoid up front.
Yeah.
Okay. So, just kind of knowing that and having those processes in place so your business won't break down. But before you get to that, you have to get to the customers, right? So marketing, what is your plan to get customers? Because without a strong marketing plan, no customers equals no business. So going into business, you have to have some sort of a marketing plan that's solid, that's going to guarantee that you get some kind of traction. You have to have like be popular in the community. You have to be a part of a board or know specifically a group of people who need a resource. And without your base customer base, then it can be hard to kind of function along and make it. That's why a lot of businesses fail within the first 2 years because they can't sustain because they don't have those three in place. They're not compliant. They get behind and try to, make up for something they didn't know. They don't have their marketing plan together. So they just don't know when, where the next customer is going to come from, or they hold on to stuff too long and they don't outsource it so that way they can have more time to be free. All three of them run together, but when it comes to customers, Tavante, when you just recently started another venture. So what was your thought process around customers first before you got started?
So basically, when I looked into the venture of starting doing non-emergency medical transportation, it was brought to me by a friend, and I thought, okay, I already knew I had the pieces together, but I thought, okay, well, how much money can I make off of this? What's the need? And it's funny because, sometimes you're in your own environment and you don't even see the resources that are right in front of you, right? You're looking at the problems and thinking like, this is a problem, but the problem is actually a solution. And so the problem that I saw was, because I lived a very healthy lifestyle, I saw people unhealthy, but I didn't know that was a resource. And then I called I called a broker and I said, hey, I'm in Gary, Indiana. I want to look at doing this business. What's the need in this area? He's like, oh, you're in a good spot. You're in a great spot, actually. I mean, most folks are looking at, 20 to 40 drives per day. And I won't give those numbers, but the numbers look pretty good. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of meat on the bone.
A lot of meat on the bone, right? So this is a great question you asked, Marcus, because it kind of ties to what we're doing. So we're looking at a customer base, right? And you can go the traditional route, you can do the marketing, or you can outsource that with brokers, right? So they already done the research. They know what the market looks like. They've been in the business for some years, and they know what the flow looks like. So if they're looking to add you on as another provider, then there's a need. So a lot of the light work was done. I mean, a lot of heavy work lifting was done for me just by going to a broker.
Wow. That broker basically directed you to who your customer base was. You didn't necessarily have to build a marketing campaign or anything like that. Like he directed you to basically where this funnel was. Right.
Of course. Exactly. It was all there for me. Now, of course, like in any business, you want to have multiple sources of income. Right. So I'm not going to rely on this broker. But that broker led me to other brokers that build other types of insurance. And of course, with that, I'm going to have opportunities to do private pay and maybe a contracts with maybe a nursing home or et cetera. You just go through the process and do the business, and you do your networking on the way. Like you mentioned earlier, you said become part of a small business association in your area, use networking in an area. So when you're doing that, you're going to meet new people. And when you add to that, you said what was the acronym? You said MMA or MA?
Money making activities, MMA.
So when you're doing those activities and you're doing that, you're gonna meet people who are in your business. You can network and you're gonna find contracts. I know I'm getting some contracts. I know I'm going to. It's gonna happen. But that first part was important to establishing the foundation for the business, and that was through that broker.
Dang. Nice. Okay. Yeah, no, I think that, like, I know from my personal experience, I know that was something I definitely didn't go into it really thinking about going into real estate. You aren't thinking that route. You're just thinking like, hey, like I'm going to sell homes or I'm going to find investment opportunities. And I had to take a couple steps back to take some steps forward to do that. Like I started realizing like the first brokerage I went to, they were real big on cold calling, which I still am today. But they're also big on using your circle of influence. And what I started to realize, my circle of influence isn't here. I'm not from this area. I'm from Northern California. I'm 3.5 hours away from my hometown. My hometown, it'd be very easy to market in on Facebook because I know a bunch of people there. But it also helped me realize that, okay, my base, that's not going to work for me because my base isn't going to be able to help me. They may direct me to a referral here and there, but to truly try and build something to create leverage, it's not going to work that way. And personally, I don't know how some of y'all feel. I didn't really want to just go around just accepting friends of people I didn't know really in Bakersfield just because they were from Bakersfield. I talk mess on Facebook. I don't need strangers in my business when I'm talking mess. But what I started realizing after me and Marcus had a few conversations, I realized I'm doing this wrong. I was posting, I was doing open houses. I was posting, this house is for sale and doing it this traditional way. And, you get the few friends that's always just, cheering for you. I get my mama on there like, praise God, baby. Look, you got another house. It was cool. It's cute and all, but it's not helping me generate business. So when I took those 2 steps back, me and Marcus kind of like looked at it. Marcus started showing me behind the scenes what to really do, how to really target, how to find your audience that you're going after, how to retarget them. All of these little nuances that I knew I was off. I knew because it didn't make sense to me what I was doing, but I couldn't figure out until Marcus helped me build that bridge, kind of like that broker you met. He helped me build that bridge to figure out, this is how I should be doing it. I don't need to use my friends and family to generate business. I need to find people that are looking to buy a home or sell a home. Yeah. It doesn't matter. I don't need to know them initially. I just need to let them know that I'm in the business of helping people achieve their real estate goals. And that's what's important, And so it's just kind of like sitting back and kind of brainstorming with Marcus. We've had multiple conversations where I figured that out, and it was like, we created this whole package, and it became a lot easier after that.
Yeah, it just goes to planning and follow your plan to see, does it actually lead to that well of customers?
Yes.
It's just as simple, and not being afraid to fail. I posted another video earlier this week in one of my appliances groups that I'm a member of, because people look at, what we do and our success with Zip, and they kind of get discouraged. But what they don't realize is, I've got experience managing, people. I've got experience running a marketing company. I've got technical experience actually fixing stuff. So things that look easy, it actually took me 20 years to develop those skills.
Right.
Oh yeah, that's key right there. That's key.
And a lot of failures along the way. So, but
that's the crazy part. Like you said, not being afraid of failure. Those failures that you've had in the past, you kept moving forward to where all those failures weren't really failures; they were lessons. Exactly. You learned a lot along the way that helped you build who you are now. So now when Zip blows up, Zip, you blew that up in a year. I watched you build that from the ground up, talk to you about it when you were developing it. And people on the outside are going to be like, dang, like he got lucky. Like he just woke overnight. Nah, so this is 20 years of getting mud on my face. This is 20 years of getting my knuckles busted. 20 years of getting told no. Like that's all that stuff that happened behind the scenes is what sets you up for success to blow up in a year. You know what I mean?
Hey, 100%. And even with all of that, preparing myself all those years, you'll still run into, times where you feel like, shoot, am I doing the right thing? Or second guessing yourself, but really at the end of the day, you got to take each one of those failures as a lesson and just keep it going, head down. As a business owner, you're steering the ship, you're leading the ship, and you just drive this sucker forward. So
exactly. Hey, Marcus, I don't know if you had this experience or not, but I look back sometimes and I thought things that I was never going to use, I use now. Like I thought, okay, I did this, it failed. I did that, it failed. I'm never going to use that. Never going to use that again. Never going to use that again. I'm like, man, you know what? I'm using everything that I've ever done. Like every single thing that I thought was going to be totally a waste, a wash. I just lost some money, blah, blah, blah. And it ends up being useful. You guys had that experience?
Oh, yeah. And it comes up in times where you don't expect it to come up. And like, whether it's and oftentimes you don't even know that you're going back to something that you thought at the time wasn't useful at all. Like my accounting class, when I was doing my MBA, it was cool. It was fun. I learned something new, but where I was in that sector, I was a management leading people, and we had an accounting department. So, not really taking some of that skill, the foundational skill, and then applying it to my budgeting made me get better at my job when I worked for somebody else. And that transition over to owning my own business, I don't even worry about that stuff because my chart of accounts is set up. Everything that's in place to give me a good budgeting foundation is perfect. I just need a bookkeeper badly.
I see you was ready to let go of that. I see. Oh man.
All right, gentlemen. We touched on a couple topics. We've been running out in about half hour now. So, in closing, again, I hope this helps someone out there. And just know that we are the REI Financial Group. And again, Tavante is our Chief Funding Officer. And if you need help taking your business from startup to beyond, or taking your current business and infusing some cash into it to help you take that next level, reach out to us. So we'll put together a strategy for you. If you have totally no idea, meet with Tavante. He'll ask you some questions and go through that process. And if you just need somebody to lean on, you have any questions about business in general, you can reach out to me, sales, JD. We're all available. We're all a team, but definitely the start, just like we talked about last week, you have to do something, because if you don't, it's going to cost.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, hey, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead, end it until next week. Thank you all. And follow us on social media, REI Financial, on Instagram and Facebook. Peace.